It's budgeting season, y'all. Just what we all love. But too often we screw it up. How many of your teams have struggled just this year with their delivery commitments that we made in our last annual budgeting cycle? And how many years in a row has that happened? It sort of feels like it happens every year, right? Now, I know we want to deliver as much value as humanly possible as we look into this next year. But when we don't budget well, our teams get stressed out. Our quality suffers. We miss our commitments, and we end up losing the trust of our leaders, our customers, and our stakeholders. And often that loss of trust results in micromanaging from some of those folks so that they want us to get it right the next time, right? And nobody wants that. Okay. So, I get it. We have this blank slate ahead of us, and we have all the possibility in the world for next year. We can start afresh, but let's also be realistic. All right. Every solid leader that I've ever interacted with, when given the choice between whether they want teams to deliver predictably or deliver as much as humanly possible, they choose predictable. Okay. So, how do you build a budget that helps your teams achieve that predictability and also allows for learnings and new ideas and pivots throughout the year? I have 4 steps that I recommend. Number one, bucket the work. I like to use 3 buckets: keep the lights on bucket, an initiative bucket, and a learning bucket. All right. Number two, number two, compare each of these buckets to what you did historically and what your teams did historically. How much capacity did each of those buckets take up? And adjust these slightly. Here's the trick: adjust these slightly to account for the ideal capacity of the team. If you did 20% keep the lights on, 50% initiatives, and 30% pivots and learnings, but your teams were super stressed out this year, back down on that initiative bucket for next year. So your teams can be more predictable and less stressed. All right, number 3, align your initiatives to the organizational strategy. Lots of people are doing this these days, which is awesome, but I find that they're doing it with rose-colored glasses. Example, I had a client who expected about 80% of their team's work to be aligned to the strategy and 20% to run the business. They weren't even thinking about learnings, right? And they wondered why their strategic priorities weren't getting done. And when we actually looked at the data, those teams were having to spend 80% of their effort on keeping the lights on because they had so much technical debt and they had an overwhelming number of small enhancement requests. So look at your data and figure out what's actually reasonable. Number 4, finally. Okay, 4th step. When you communicate these plans for next year, bring transparency to the priorities you're working towards. Be clear about what your teams can actually commit to and get their input on that, please. And know that they have rose-colored glasses on often. And think about what will communicate also what will slip if we don't get to it or if we learn more or need to respond to the market throughout the year like we always do. And finally, set a regular cadence with your stakeholders to review those priorities and update them as we learn more. I have never had a client get to the end of a year and nothing has changed in their plans, right? You probably haven't either. So put away those rose-colored glasses. So if this was a helpful mini training and you or your teams have challenges with how you operate internally, how you get the most value out to your customers, click the button on the bottom of this page and schedule a free call with me. You have great people on your staff and you all deserve to feel good about the value that you're delivering and how you're advancing the business. Your transformation starts with a simple phone call. Let's help your teams and your organization really rally around the right value, break down those impediments that are slowing them down. You know there's opportunity for your teams to deliver faster, with more value, with higher quality, even be more innovative. So click that button, book your call. There's a short survey to fill out so that I can understand the outcomes that you're looking for and we can make the most of our time together. So I hope to speak with you very soon. I hope this has been great and click that button and let's chat.